thinks is my stand-in.
Wine? Boop. Nope, okay. Before we get into today's video, I did want to share what wine we're drinking because they are the best. This is Vintage Inc. Whiskey Barrel Aged Red. And this is the exact wine, not this exact wine glass, but the wine glass that made me get stitches, so Cody will be washing these. Cheers.
Cheers. And this is not
wine.
This is coffee.
Okay.
I do keep looking up at the monitor.
I know.
And I feel like my...
Bless you. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today's video is going to be a couples Q&A with my boyfriend, Cody. And you guys have probably seen him on my Instagram and popping up in a few videos and vlogs here and there, but we wanted to sit down and film a formal Q&A. It's taken us a while to do this. I asked for these questions a couple weeks ago, so I apologize on the delay. But funny enough, the day that we went to go film this, I actually needed to get stitches in my finger because I was washing one of these wine glasses and it shattered on me. But we're all healed up, we're ready to go. If you're new to my channel, subscribe. And okay, let's get into it. Cody, give them a background on our relationship.
So, Mick and I have been dating for 5 years. We actually just celebrated our 5 years not too long ago.
There's a video.
Yeah, there's a video out there. It's the tiny home one. Like, that's how we decided to celebrate our 5 years. We've basically been living together for like 4.5 years, probably.
Yeah. So we actually lived in a place that I lived in when I was going to school. I had a couple roommates, and then when, I don't know, things changed, he was living there anyway, and so I said, hey, do you want to pay half the rent and then we can just have the space for ourselves? And so that's what ended up happening. And then basically the landlord wanted to bring another person in to live with us, and we were so not okay with that. So we left and we found our other apartment that we lived in last. So this is our, I guess, second apartment that we've had just the two of us, but the third place we've technically lived together.
Yes.
Okay, first question is, when did you know it was time to move in together?
I guess if you're talking about the first time I moved into Mick's place, I was kind of like already living there most of the time. It was just more convenient. It was a lot closer to my work, and I was spending most of my free time with her anyway, so it just made sense to hang out at her place most of the time. Mm-hmm. And then I think the opportunity came up is like when your roommate was moving out, and you needed to find a new roommate, and it's like, why don't I just pay the other half of the rent, and I technically, move more of my stuff in, and like...
It just made so much more sense. Also, to rent in where we live is like so expensive, so it's nice to be able to share it, and it makes, like you said, like so much more sense than me just getting another roommate and then moving out in a couple months together anyway. And in terms of this question for maybe someone else, or you guys kind of just like, you and your partner will know when it's right. Like, I feel like it's never, I don't know, having that conversation may be hard, but for us, we never really had a conversation. It was more like, hey, do you want to pay half the rent? That was the conversation, I feel like. Yeah,
and like, I didn't feel like it was like that big of a step necessarily, because we felt so comfortable with each other already. We were like spending so many nights together, and I think that's the biggest thing about moving in with someone is like, dealing with like sleeping in the same bed as them, or like having to deal with the same like messes or whatever, that like the habits that they have. And I feel like we kind of got all of those out of the way before I even officially moved in. And
if you're already a part of someone else's, this is ridiculous. If you're already a part of each other's routines, I feel like it fits really naturally. Also too, this was Cody's first time moving out of his house, like living away from home. Is that the correct way to say it? Yeah. And I had only been living out of my house for, I guess, like a year and a half. So we were still pretty new. Like, neither one of us has technically lived on our own. But we don't feel weird about that at all. Or like, I don't know how to end this question, but we're moving on. What's one thing you love about living together? For me personally, I just love always having someone to talk to and having someone to tell like about my day, and just like any exciting news or anything at all, honestly, if it's good or bad, I always have Cody to come home to, and just kind of always having, it's cheesy, but always having a best friend to do things with, and like do the like lazy stuff with, like doing laundry and like, I don't know, things like that would normally be boring. It is boring, but you get my point. Snicks really likes to divide his time equally, so you notice that he'll come and cuddle on me for a couple minutes, and then he'll go over to Cody and cuddle for a couple minutes. Like, he's really, really good at like dividing his time.
Yeah, I think my favorite part is like somewhere along those lines is like having like a busy day or a stressful day, and you need someone there you can just like vent to or comfort you. Like, it's it's nice to have like a home base, but then also when you have someone at that home base that you're most comfortable with, it makes things so much easier, and and it just relieves so much stress.
I think you have a cat hair on your eyebrow. Oh, I'm getting more cat hair on it. The next question did come up a couple times, and it is basically, how do your parents feel about it? My boyfriend and I caught a lot of heat when we moved in, which is kind of interesting, because I definitely think this is like a topic that a lot of parents would be concerned about. Personally, from my experience, both my parents seemed fine. I mean, I didn't really know what my dad was thinking about it, but my mom was totally fine. She was actually probably the one that suggested we moved in together for the rent's sake. But she also knew that we were spending all of our time together, and that it just kind of made sense with Cody's work and stuff. And there was never really any doubts from my side of the family.
From my side of the family, or my dad, I don't honestly remember him having an opinion either way. Like, I think he's usually pretty chill about things, and like, I'm sure he was just like, go
you
for
do
it.
You. Also, too, we're adults, so it's not
yeah.
We're like 18 trying to move in together, you know?
I think the biggest concerns probably came from like my brother and my friend Vishal. Both my brother Jesse and Vishal like are like my best friends, and they kind of were just like, they weren't saying not to do it, but they were like, you know, questioning me the most and being like, are you sure this is the right time to do this? Like, relatively early in our relationship, we moved in together, so
I can see how like friends and close friends would like be like a little bit red flagged. I feel like maybe my friends were too. They're like, wow, that's kind of quick, but they didn't say anything, you know. But at least like your brother and Vishal asked, I feel like, or like kind of brought it up, you know.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's just because, you know, they're looking out for me. They like didn't know Mick that well at this point yet, and I mean, neither of them had ever moved in with a girlfriend before, so like I think it was just a big step for us in general, us as in my my friend group and stuff like that. It's like,
yeah, I feel like even my friends too, there was no one that like had lived with anyone like we had. I feel like we were the first to do that. How did you two decide on an apartment style?
I don't really know what that means. Apartment style. Does that mean like what apartment we decided to buy, or how we decided to decorate it?
I guess kind of both. We didn't buy this place. We're renting.
Or
is that what you meant?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay. Well, how did we decide this apartment? And I guess, yeah, what goes in it? I don't know. We can just quickly answer that. Basically, we needed something from our last apartment that had more space. We wanted something that didn't have mice. We wanted something that was a little more secure, and just something that was more modern. And so that's where we came across this place. We got super lucky, and we just like drove by it and found it one day, and they had just started renting them. So we got the pick of all the apartments, which was amazing. So yeah, we rent this place. We don't own it, although I so wish we did.
As far as I'm concerned, like, obviously I love this place, but most of it has to do with the fact that we have flies, and it's just awesome having more than 2 pets.
We love pets so much.
It's
Bring it back.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, as far as I'm concerned, the place that we chose to live, if that's what you meant by apartment style, like, had more to do with what Mick was interested in, because she works from home. It would be her office. It would be
everything.
It would be her set for anything she's filming. So
I specifically chose the apartment that has the kitchen adjacent to the window also, which was very lucky.
Yeah.
And yeah, certain things, like in our last place, I did love it, and it was great for our first apartment, but I was so depressed because there was no natural light in that place, and so it was just really crammed. I was filming in half of the living room. It just really wasn't working, and so when we were able to save up and move to something bigger, I cannot express to you how happy I was. So I love it, and yes, there is a lot of pink in here, but he doesn't mind. And I buy all of the decor, so it doesn't really matter. Like, we go in on like the bigger things together, but for the most part, I'm like, hey, do you like this new plant I bought? He's like, are there things that you can't do that you could do when you lived alone? Like we mentioned, neither one of us has lived alone technically, but not really. Nothing really comes to mind when I think of this question.
I guess like the one big thing for me, I used to like pretty much watch movies every night with like my brother and sister when I lived at home, and we would watch a lot of horror movies, a lot of gory movies, like anything in the genre of horror. And I feel like it's something that I can't even really have on when Mick's around. Because even if she just like catches a glimpse of the screen, it's like...
There's been so many shows that Cody puts on, and I swear I walk in at the worst times, and I have the best memory, and so I'll see like a split second of a show or a movie, and I will remember it for the rest of my life. And I just like, I can't do it. And so unfortunately, yeah, Cody, if he has something that he wants to watch, I'm like, I'm gonna go have a bath so you can watch it, and just like knock on the door when you're done, because I don't want to see it. What do you do when you're both very stubborn about something and won't let it go?
We're not stubborn.
Yeah, I feel like we let things go pretty well. I don't know. It doesn't last long. If there's anything I want to be stubborn about, I feel like it's never worth it. I'll be like pouty or whatever for like 5 minutes, and then I'll get over it, because I just like, I'm on to the next thing, you know?
Fights and being stubborn about things never really last longer than like 15 minutes for us, I feel like.
Oh, 5 to 15, okay. A little bit longer, but not too bad. How do you manage to get me time when the other person doesn't like spending time alone?
The vast majority of our me time is like you on the computer,
yeah,
me watching TV or a movie or video game.
I feel like we're not good to answer this question because both of us really do enjoy spending time alone, I feel like. Yeah. Alone but together, you know? Like we just said, like I'll go have a bath and Cody will watch a show. There's so many shows. Like Cody watches so much content, you guys. You have no idea that he always is like onto a movie or watching the next thing, and I'm doing like a million other things, which is fine. Like I don't mind him like sitting and watching while I'm like working on the computer doing work, or like searching Pinterest or something, or like having a bath. Like we're still in the same vicinity, but we're very much okay with doing our own thing.
Headphones are a beautiful thing.
I also like dance, and so that's kind of my escape. Cody had baseball recently. Like there are things that we do separately. He goes to movies all the time. Like we do have kind of our separate lives. Not a whole lot of our separate lives, but enough that you feel like you're not always together, if that makes sense. This one kind of relates to the last one. How much time do you usually spend together? Every evening, except for a couple nights a week when I dance. Most weekends.
Yeah. I mean, during the weekdays, like evenings, like unless it's like I'm going to a movie or she's going to dance. Like,
or have an event, or like, you know, every week's different.
Yeah, but for the majority of weekdays, we spend evenings together. And then weekends, we usually have like full Sundays and Mondays together for the most part.
Yeah.
So I want to specify one thing, because I said weekends and then I said Sunday, Monday. Sunday and Monday are basically my weekends because I work a Tuesday to Saturday shift, so we spend a lot of Sunday and Mondays together. Especially
that's our weekend, and I also take the same weekend,
yeah,
so we can spend time together. But this one's a good one. Pet peeves discovered after moving in. Who wants to go first? Do you want to go first?
Pet peeves about the other person?
Yeah.
Oh, you go first.
When he cooks, he doesn't clean as he goes, and he just like leaves everything out. So if you like put salt on something, he leaves the salt shaker cap off of it. These flies, my god, it's because of the wine. And he like will cut open a package and leave the package, and it's like, you could do this so much better if you like cleaned as you go, and then by the end you don't have as much to clean. I just never understood that, but
it's not always the case though. Like it.
You've gotten better, but I feel like I'm like,
I do sometimes. It's mostly when I'm cooking something I'm not familiar with, especially when we were doing like HelloFresh or any of the like cooking, the subscription cooking things. Like it's not something I'm comfortable cooking, so I don't want to leave it for too long.
He
or something
like will watch whatever it is on the stove when he like can take 4 seconds and throw something out, but he doesn't, because he's like, I'm really like focused on this.
I'm very particular to the like second, but like if I'm doing something I'm pretty comfortable with, like making eggs and bacon or whatever, like
it's gotten better. I'll say that.
Okay, so my turn.
Okay, fine. We're gonna have a few.
I think my biggest pet peeve is her not filling up the water jug. And it's not just the fact that she doesn't fill up the water jug, it's like she literally puts it back into the fridge
empty.
Completely empty, and it's just like I don't need filtered water, but it's nice to have like fridge cold ready water.
Sometimes I need cold water, but like so many times I don't. And like Code loves drinking cold water, and I just like can go with mediocre water. I really don't care. So yeah, I'm really bad at that. Yeah.
It's just so disappointing going to the fridge and then you just pull out the jug and there's just like nothing left, or there's just like this much left.
It's one of those.
And you're so parched, and like it's a nice hot summer day, and you need that
just so
cold water, and it's just like
not there. Get it from the tap. Wait 4 seconds for it to get cold.
Doesn't get nearly as cold.
Cody has like a really bad memory, and it's kind of funny because I have a really good memory, and so whenever I ask him to like take out the garbage or like do certain things, I feel like I'm nagging him because I ask him so many times, but he like doesn't remember, and so I feel like that's a pet peeve. It's like how many times I have to ask for certain things. But it's because he doesn't remember. That was really gross.
I wonder if the mic picked it up.
I did that in my last video, actually. I
should switch back to the coffee before it gets too late.
Any more last pet peeves before we move on? I feel like I have more. I just can't think of them. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like, as soon as the thing happens, then you're like, ooh, this thing, I hate it so much.
Yeah.
But
you're like, I'm gonna
but it
remember
really
this.
doesn't bug you that much that like it stays on your mind at all times. I can't really think. I guess just like how she puts the dishes in the dishwasher.
No, I don't like how you put the dishes in the dishwasher.
That goes both ways.
The cups have a very specific
The bowls
section.
do not go on the bottom.
Yes, they do.
They don't. They can't. The water can't go through.
Yes,
the
they
bowls.
can. You don't put the bowls in the cup section. You can put them beside the cup section, but not in the cup section.
You just have to put them on the top. You
also, any travel lids do not take up a space where a glass can go. Let's make this efficient, people. Okay.
It could.
It doesn't.
It could.
It's not.
It's not like our dishwasher's ever full.
Yes, it is.
And
if
how many times
have
have you put it in the dishwasher and then the cup lid falls down the side and then melts and then
that
ruins
was you.
No, that was you. I always put it in the cup spot. I would never do that in the cup spot.
Moving on. Any tips on planning nights out without getting lazy about it? We don't really go out. We don't really do.
We're pretty lazy about it.
Yeah, we're not really good about it. We go to concerts.
That's a good one though. Like you buy tickets for something. I find like if you just like have the fact that
things that you're looking forward to.
You actually have already bought and you're like, well, let's not waste our money. Like we should go do this thing.
I feel like for our like date nights are more a little like spontaneous. It's like Cody gets home, I'm like, I don't want to cook, and he's like, I don't want to cook, and we're like, okay, let's go out, and that's about it, right?
And once every 6 months we'll go to a movie.
If he's lucky. Do you ever feel like you need your own space? Yes, but I feel like now that we have like a 2-bedroom space, we have more space essentially.
Yeah.
It's like easier. And there's ways to escape it if you're feeling like you're just having a day that you need to be by yourself. I feel like there's options. And just like communicating that with the other person. I feel like
never happens.
No.
I don't think so. I think the only example I can think of is like you have work to do.
Yeah.
And you have your computer and I just leave you alone. Or you have your office or your studio.
Yeah.
And you can film in there and I just have to make sure that I'm like being
not
quiet enough.
Making a blended smoothie at the same time. Do you guys have house rules? Does one of you cook and when clean? Do you split chores? Why, yes we do. So basically Cody's jobs that kind of just like happened are like the litter box and taking out the garbage. I'm pretty much doing most of the other cleaning. Like I do the vacuuming, I do the dusting, but some days when it gets really bad, I'm like, Cody, I'm going to lose my mind if we do not clean right now. He does a really good job of cleaning the kitchen. The thing is, sorry, I'm gonna talk a lot.
Pet peeve alert.
The thing is, Cody is a perfectionist, and so when he cleans, does a fabulous job, but it takes
and that's why I don't like doing it.
And that's why he doesn't like doing it, and that's a terrible excuse. He doesn't know how to do like a quick 5-minute bathroom clean. He takes everything out of his bathroom. He like strips down and like cleans it top to bottom, puts in a podcast, and takes like, I'm not joking, 2 hours. The bathroom is spotless after, but nobody has 2 hours to do that. And so I really have to pick and choose.
More like an hour.
But I really do.
Time next time we'll do a video on it.
You should. I really have to pick and choose what I actually want him to like work on and do and like put in front of him, because he'll do a great job, but it'll just take a really long time, and sometimes I don't have that time.
Okay, well I'll talk now. And I'd say more often. We both do the dishes, but I'd say I do it more often.
Yeah.
I also tend to do the dinner cooking more often.
More recently.
Whenever there's a time we're both home.
Usually I'm doing something else, so you are cooking.
I usually do the cooking. The only time I feel like you do the cooking is like because I sometimes work late, and then you just want to have the dinner ready by the time I get home.
Yeah, that's fair. Next question is, what things do you share / what do you keep your own? How joint is your life? Well, we share a lot of things. We divide our rent. We share our car insurance. He pays hydro and like electricity, and I pay the internet. Mm-hmm. Our income does keep separate, but since we are technically common law, our taxes are joint, I guess, technically.
She gets, my benefits because of that.
That too. That's joint, I guess, in some way. But I think for the most part, like, if there's, I don't know, we just split everything. Even like groceries, like I'll get it one time, he'll get it the next. We used to do it like evenly split when we were first dating, but now that we've been together for so long, it's just kind of like, you got this one? Cool. I got this one? Cool. Like, it's not really like a tally thing. All our travels usually split, unless it's something that has to do with my work. If I'm like buying a piece of furniture that is like something I want and not Cody, then I'll pay for it. If there's a trip that I want to go on, like I'll pay for it. Like there's certain things. So
yeah,
our life is pretty joint, but we don't have a joint banking account.
Sometimes we share chocolate, sometimes we keep it to ourselves, you know?
I definitely don't purposely share chocolate.
Yeah, and sometimes I find it.
Did you ever fight about dirty dishes or just keeping the whole place clean? Yes. I hate having a mess. I mean, we're not fighting, but like arguing. Since I have to work and live and be home all the time, I have a really hard time with getting my work done when the place is messy. So I sometimes just have mental breakdowns. I'm like, Cody, I can't do this. I need your help and I need to clean this so I can function as a human. And he just goes, you're crazy? Okay.
I think there's some bickering as to like who should do what. Like there's times where like there's this like the recycling, and she's like, the recycling's been there for days now, and I'm like, then why don't you do it?
Because it's your job.
And stuff like that. That's as far as it goes. It doesn't like, I'll eventually
and then
do it. I just do it at my
days.
own time.
Yeah, doesn't affect anything. What factors did you consider before getting pets together? So if you don't know, we have 2 cats. We have Noodle and we have Snicks that you guys saw earlier. And so basically Noodle was Cody's cat before he moved in together, and so that was actually a factor in the last apartment that we found, was the fact that we needed somewhere that allowed pets so we could have Noodle, and so Noodle joined us. And then when we moved to this apartment, we kind of decided jointly that we're like, we need another cat. So
I think you were more specifically looking for a bunny or something.
Yeah, I went through a phase.
She wanted like her own companion.
I wanted
like,
a bunny.
I guess she kind of felt at the time that like Noodle was mine, and then she wanted like one of her
I want one.
Cat therapy and rescue came to my work, and they had like a little kind of like cuddle fest with a bunch of kittens.
I got to go. I was like, Cody,
I told
coming
Nick
to your
that
work.
she should come, and then that kind of kickstarted like us looking into them and putting in our application and always keeping an eye on their Facebook page.
And so we were also just looking for a cute cat that we just thought would be good, and we wanted another male. And
then we saw Ross.
And then we saw Ross. Snick's name originally was Ross. Ross's birth name.
Ross's birth name.
Snick's birth name.
Did you guys know that Ross's birth name was Snicks? Snicks was named Ross after the Ross from Friends. There was a bunch of cats in a litter that were all named after characters from Friends.
So I like jumped on it. We got Snicks. I even have a vlog. I'll link it down below from like the first day we got him. I think that's like on my vlog channel or something. So yeah, basically when we were in the process, going back to the actual freaking question, when we were in the process of adopting Snicks, I basically looked at Cody deep in the eyes and I said, if we get this cat together, this is more of a commitment than marriage. Are you willing to do this? And he was like, let's do it. And I was like, okay, great. So yes, Snicks is like technically mine in like adoption terms, but he's our child that we raised together. So yeah.
And he splits his time evenly between
He really
us.
does, and he's the best kitty ever, and I love him.
I do not envy the person who's editing this.
I know we're almost done.
Oh, f*** me. You made me spill.
You just wanted to take your pants off for the video. Here's another pet peeve. Cody is really particular about his clothes, and like stains and like little marks and creases. Don't even get me started on creases. His pants, all of them, for some reason, always have one crease down the center of his pant, and we have no idea why. And
it doesn't just happen. It's only when you dry them.
It's a lot.
So I don't dry my jeans and pants anymore.
And now we have to hang them all. So that pretty well wraps up today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments down below if you want to see more of Cody, if you want us to do more Q&As, and what topics you want us to cover, because this was super fun. This was also not meant to be a drunk Q&A, but we just decided to drink wine, but we could do an actual funny Q&A drunk if you guys wanted to see that too, because we like drinking. So yeah, let us know in the comments down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we will see you in my next video. I will see you. You might be there. We never know. Catch us on Instagram. Bye!
Bye, Gucci.